So I've made this video a couple of times, at least as far as recording goes, but I just kind of want to make a definitive video talking about my thoughts and opinions on the Beacn stuff and the Elgato stuff. I don't have a script for this, but I do want to go ahead and mention, yes, I've talked about the Beacn ecosystem a lot, my thoughts, opinions negatively about it, but I want to give credit where credit's due as far as from the Beacn side and the Elgato side, because a friend of mine who's also a content creator, I'll leave his stuff linked down below. He released a video earlier yesterday at this point that kind of piqued my interest, and I went over to Elgato's channel and I was like, oh snap, they made this available. So I want to say kudos where kudos is due, and Elgato made something very fantastic wherever for a lot of content creators to be able to use in their content creation and more outside of streaming. So being able to use voice focus as a VST or a plugin or wherever, and any editing software that allows you to use VSTs or plugins, and you're able to use it from, let's say you're recording internally into a camera, or maybe you're using a vlogging camera or something like that. Maybe you're using a wireless lavalier system like the DJI, Comica microphones, 32-bit float, whatever it is. You can use voice focus or whatever instead of using noise cancellation or a denoising or whatever you want to call it on the actual microphones themselves, because that stuff just doesn't work. It's always bad on everything that I've tested. And even in softwares or wherever you're using those kind of VSTs are always just terrible. So it's better to use 32-bit float internal recording and then use something like the voice focus. So that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, it's $50. First off, it's a one-time purchase, lifetime license. It's hard to sit there and say fully like, yeah, it's worth the $50, even though I'm using it right now, because I have the Wave XLR with the overhead shotgun microphone with some slight plugins and stuff like that. And that's how I get the audio sound so good, because the Wavelength 2.0 came out and I've been using it. So it's really good. And I wouldn't be able to do this situation with not having a microphone in the shot for your YouTube videos if it wasn't for voice focus. So I'm grateful for it. It's very beneficial. I can see the application for it because I have tons of wireless systems or wherever, and lavalier microphones and wireless microphones, shotgun microphones, all that stuff. So I could use it in DaVinci Resolve myself. It would be great to have that kind of stuff. The problem is, like I said, $50 for it. Take it what you will. I can't say yay or nay. I'm just gonna leave that up to you in the comment section to figure out if it's good or not as far as that price goes. The other thing is Wavecast. Now Wavecast is kind of like the 2PC setup or wherever. It's $50 as well, but it allows you to send audio back and forth between 2PC setups or wherever. So it's very nice that you don't have to go and spend money on the Beacn Studio if you don't want to be able to get the 2PC setup. Mind you, I've been able to use the 2PC setup with the Wave XLR before any of the stuff came out from Beacn or Elgato. And it took me like 10 minutes altogether to set it up. And I did it for about a year, almost a year and a half, and had no problems and issues getting my microphone to transfer audio from gaming and all that stuff like that. Had no problems and issue. But this seems to be a little bit quicker, just like it is a little bit quicker with the Beacn Studio. So, you know, it is whatever you want to use it for. So it just depends on, do you want to get into the Elgato system or the Beacn system? But this is coming from more so the Beacn side of things. Like if you already have the Beacn mic or the Beacn Studio, but you find their software as far as what they offer the VSTs as being a little bit lackluster in my personal opinion, and I would like to be able to use or utilize a lot of the VSTs and plugins that I use in my own editing software and DaVinci Resolve or something like that to be able to process the audio, because I think personally it's better than what Beacn offers. So how do you do that? Well, because Wavecast is out now, what you can do is actually take the Beacn mic or the Beacn Studio, whatever you're using for your microphone, put that into Wavecast, and then take the voice isolation as well as maybe the Elgato background noise removal. Maybe you have some echo removal plugins and stuff like I do, because I live in a room that's not sound treated, no sound blankets, anything like that. So echo removal is greatly, I would say, useful depending on what type of microphone you're using to record your stuff or live stream. And then you can apply it to that Beacn Studio or that Beacn mic within the Wavecast, and then just cast that microphone to your second PC. Because the problem with the Beacn software is that you can't take the Wave microphone and take it to the link out and cast that to your second PC for your game or anything like that. You can do the Beacn mic, you can do the Beacn Studio itself, you can plug in a USB microphone and it will be able to cast out. But for whatever reason, the Wave XLR stuff or wherever, other than the line in mic for the Beacn, for the Elgato stuff, is the only thing that you can send to your second PC. You can't send any microphone or wherever. Maybe you could send the Wave microphone over. I don't know. I don't have it anymore. I sent it to a friend of mine because I just didn't need it anymore because I use the Wave XLR now. But maybe you could send that over because it's a USB. But for whatever reason, the Wave XLR, even though I'm using it to record into OBS through the actual Beacn software, because it shows up in the mic, I would say, section of the software. But when you go into the link to be able to send to your second PC, like an audio source or a microphone, whatever, it doesn't show up at all. It won't let you send it out. So that kind of screwed over. And I've been sitting here thinking like, okay, well, what do I do? Because I kind of want to use the Beacn mic because I paid for it. And the Beacn Studio is usually hooked up to a microphone over here for microphone testing because I like the software a lot more visually to be able to show you guys like the waveforms of microphones and testing stuff and doing everything. It's just a lot easier and shows off a little bit better than using the Wavelink software to be able to do that for reviews and stuff. And if I want to, use it on stream or wherever, it's a lot easier than unhooking the XLR like cable where from the Wave XLR and then trying to plug it in over there. And then if I need to mute or do anything like that, it's a lot more cumbersome to set that up when the Beacn Studio is already set up, especially for the 2 PC setup. So this is what I'm thinking about doing. And this is what I came up with the idea of, like I said, taking the Beacn stuff, putting it into the Wavecast, taking Wavecast and adding VSTs and plugins like the voice isolation and stuff on top of that, and then letting that microphone be sent to my OBS as well as being sent to my second PC. And, just having that audio be the one that I record stuff. Now, why this is a really good thing is that you can use the noise gate if you want to, or noise suppression or wherever from the Beacn stuff. But like I said, it's not good if you don't have a sound treated room or you're just in an echoey space. You have significant others, you have dogs, you have kids, whatever it is, it makes a lot of noise. It's still picking up your keyboard and mouse and stuff like that. Like I said, it pick up my AC unit / heating unit or wherever in my room. I can get rid of all that because with the Wave XLR, even before the voice focus update, none of that stuff was getting picked up at all. No matter what microphone I used, it wouldn't pick up any of that stuff. Just using background noise removal in proximity of being in a proximity effect of the microphone. With the Beacn mic, it still picks it up relatively loud versus the Beacn Studio, kind of a little bit better, but that's more so of me using a decent microphone that's around $100 to maybe $200. So keep that in mind as well. But like I said, I like the look of the Beacn mic. I think it's fantastic what it does as far as like saving the stuff on the microphone itself. It's not really applicable to me because I'm not moving around with the microphone, taking it anywhere, but it might be to other people out there. And it's like, how can you improve this a little bit more? And then improving it would be allowing VSTs and plugins to be added into their software, but it doesn't look like Beacn's doing it. So unfortunately, you're probably gonna have to pay at least $50 for the Wavecast to be able to add stuff to what they're lacking at bare minimum. But honestly, I do think it is worth it, in my personal opinion, to have the voice focus added to that. What I would potentially do is if you want to use the background noise removal instead of the noise suppression, then you can. If you like the noise suppression because it's a noise gate, then you can just use that and just use voice focus. But I would use background noise removal and de-echo, and then I would use the voice focus and I would turn off the noise suppression and I would turn off the expander. That's what I would do in their software. I would use everything else. So I think everything else is fine, but that's what I would do. And then just send that audio signal, like I said, to Wavecast. And then I would use the voice isolation, the background noise removal, and maybe the echo or whatever plugin. And then just have that microphone signal sent to my second PC. And because it's getting sent to my second PC, it should show up as an audio source or wherever. Maybe it will in the Beacn software, and just have that microphone like go through the Beacn Mix Create software or wherever to be able to go to OBS as well. I haven't purchased the software yet. I'm gonna probably do that in the near future and then give my thoughts and opinions on using it. But I can already tell you the voice isolation is very, very good. I'm super surprised that I'm able to use a shotgun microphone in this orientation, because before, if you guys have seen it, I've tested it. I've had my shotgun microphone. This is not the shotgun microphone, but I've had it in the shot in several videos. And then I've now boomed it out of shot or wherever and using it at the same time. And before the voice isolation with a shotgun microphone, I would have to use, the microphone like this, you know what I'm saying? Because I couldn't use a shotgun microphone because shotgun microphones are a little bit different as far as using it in certain scenarios when it comes to the Beacn stuff to make it better, because like I said, Beacn is not going to do it themselves. So it looks like I said, Elgato has saved Beacn, at least in my personal opinion, as far as being able to use their stuff, because Elgato claims you can use any microphone and any editing software. The only kind of somewhat downside is that I don't really need to switch game audio and all that stuff. I'm not trying to switch any of that stuff. I'm just trying to use Wavecast in order to send the audio signal from my microphone. I don't need it to send any other audio. So it's like, is it really worth $50 in that case if you already have like the Beacn Studio? If you don't have the Beacn Studio and you just have the Beacn mic and let's say the Beacn Mix Create, and maybe you were thinking about getting the Beacn Studio, I would probably go ahead and get Wavecast instead, and then just find VSTs and plugins out there to make your audio a little bit better. If you find a Beacn mic lacking for some reason, the Beacn stuff definitively, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it here because I'm not sure if I said it earlier or in a different recording of this. The Beacn Mix Create, love the Beacn Mix Create. I think it's the best product that Beacn has. I wish that there was a longer version or an XL version of it that would allow me to have, 8 knobs and 8 buttons and a bigger screen or wherever to see more, individual, I would say sections of my audio sources inside of the software to correlate to the Beacn Mix Create. That would be really cool. I think that would be good, but that's the favorite part, I would say, of the Beacn ecosystem that I like. The Beacn Studio, like I said before, it's a little bit easier to set up than the Wave XLR for dual PC setups. I like it. I like its capability. I still think that it should have came with 2 XLR inputs, in my personal opinion. That would have been nice. I like the footprint or wherever being kind of small and everything like that. Still feels like super lightweight. It feels really cheap physically, but overall the performance of it is really good. And like I said, even though it's lacking in the VST department as far as the sound of it and everything goes, as far as those applications, microphones sound good. I like using it, enjoy using it or whatever for displaying stuff, the tooltips and stuff inside the software to set it up. Everything is great. It's just what I really don't like is the Beacn microphone. I don't know if it's my microphone in particular, but it just, like I said, when you apply the same VSTs or software editing stuff or wherever that you can inside the software for regular microphones with the Beacn Studio, and then you take those same stuff and you use it on the Beacn mic, it's like night and day. The Beacn mic, in my personal opinion, it sounds horrible. And like I said, it could just be my voice. It could be the room that I'm in is just not suited for the microphone for whatever reason. I do like the fact that it comes in 2 different colors. I kind of wish there was more colors as far as the microphone, not the foam. But overall, if I was getting anything, I would get the Beacn Mix Create, get the Wavecast, get the voice focus, and use whatever audio source you want to use. If it's not the Beacn Studio, whatever it may be, even a Beacn mic might be really, really good. But there's no way for me to test it without getting this stuff. So hopefully I can get it, like I said, in the near future and test it and then give my thoughts and opinions to you guys. So if you're interested in that, hit that subscribe button to see that in the near future. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this. Is this something that you would really praise Elgato for? And even if it's not just for using the Beacn stuff, would you use this with your current setup? Let me know. I'm very curious to see what people think. With all that being said, y'all take care. Have a squid-tastic day. God bless you and yours. And if you found this video helpful and informative, leave a like, consider subscribing or joining the channel memberships. That helps me out, and I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. God bless you and yours. And deuces, everybody. Much love.